Ready? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Howell Council meeting this evening, March 24th, 2020, regular session at 6 p.m.
Let the minutes reflect that adequate notice of the holding of this regular meeting of the Howell Township Council was provided for in the following manner. By the posting of a copy of said notice upon the bulletin board in the Township Municipal Building on January 8th, 2020, amended notice on March 20th, 2020. By the emailing of a copy of said notice to the Asbury Park Press, Tri-Town News, and Star Ledger for information and publication on January 8th, 2020. Amended notice emailed on March 20th, 2020 for information only. By the filing of a copy of said form of notice in the Township Clerk's office on January 8th, 2020. Amended notice on March 20th, 2020. The public will be allowed to participate electronically pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law. Any contracts awarded at this meeting or between now and the next meeting will be required to comply with the requirements of Public Law 1975, Chapter 127, NJAC 17:27. In accordance with the Fire Prevention Code, be advised that this facility is designed with emergency exits for your safety. Upon exiting the meeting room, they are to your left and to the right. Smoking is not permitted in the municipal building. Please take note that this meeting is being live streamed and videotaped for possible future broadcast on Howell Television. Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
Present.
Ms. Richmond?
Present.
Mr. Russo?
Here.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Here.
Mayor Berger?
Present. There was no executive session this evening, so we'll go directly to the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to ask for a moment of silence for all of the people who have passed during the COVID-19 and all the responders who've been helping them, that they're taking care of us. Thank you. Do we have any reports this evening?
Yes, Mayor. Would you like to do the minutes first?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No problem.
May I have a motion to, do you want to do the minutes together or separately?
Together's fine for me.
Fine. Everyone?
It's fine.
May I have a motion for the minutes for February 25th, 2020, the special budgetary meeting, and March 3rd, 2020, the regular meeting plus executive and public release?
May I make a motion to accept the minutes of February 25th and March 3rd?
May I have a second?
I wasn't here.
Neither was I. I just realized that
Oh.
after I said,
Oh.
oh, no problem. So can we split them?
I was wondering why you were
Was-
looking at me like that, Evelyn.
Was, John, were you here for the budget
here.
meeting?
Audio is pretty bad, but I'm here.
Could he second it?
Good to hear.
John, we need a second for the approval of the minutes for the budget meeting.
So we should do it separately.
I guess, yeah. He
Yes,
wasn't-
it's
he
done
wasn't-
separately. He's second.
For the budget meeting.
Okay. Roll call?
Oh, just for the budget meeting?
Just,
We have
yes,
to split
you
it.
have to
Okay.
split it.
Agreed?
Okay. Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
Yes.
Ms. Richmond?
I was absent.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Absent.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Then I'll need a motion for the March 3rd, 2020, for
May I-
regular session, executive session, and public release.
I will make a motion to accept the March 3rd minutes.
And a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
Yes.
Ms. Richmond?
I was absent.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Now, Brian.
Yes. First, I just want to thank the governing body. This unique time, in short order, we were left with the task of coming up with a new way to conduct business by using various check manager forms that I belong to and input from our various professionals, legal, some DCA guidance. That's the way we were able to eventually come up with this format. And a thank you to our IT staff for accommodating this as well, as well as everyone's input, just to finally get this together. The other thing I want to comment on is there were some inquiries about our food pantry. I did make some inquiries today. Their supply is running very low, so we'd like to announce to the public, if you're able to donate anything, I recommend that they contact either our senior center at the main Howell number, extension 2555, or they can contact our OEM, again, the main Howell number, at extension 2906. Again, if we're putting the call out, our food pantry supports a lot of our senior citizens in the community, so their ability to give out more is dependent on what they can take in. So, and that's all I have for reports for now.
Is there any discussion at this point?
May I, Mayor? I'm sorry, may I?
Yeah.
Can I make a comment during this time, Brian? Is it okay? Just another note for the public as well, that our blood banks are running fairly low, historically low, from what I've been reading and understanding. And we actually have one on Route 9 here. So if everybody can get the word out that it's important that we donate blood, they could really use that.
Make sure you go on the website, though, and get the guidelines.
Right.
Because if you've traveled, obviously, I don't believe that you can donate.
I'm sure they have
Yeah,
an
yeah,
application or
absolutely.
frequently asked questions, but it's important that we can, if we can help in one way or another, that's another opportunity to help.
May I?
Yes.
Mr. Geegan, when I had asked you about the food pantry, I was hoping that at some point, if we are flush with food, we might be able to open up the Howell Food Pantry twice a month, so that we would be better, able to
Right.
help out some of the people.
And that was the reason I had made the call, but when I found out how low our supply was, I
Yes.
figured that might not be wise at this point until we can get our stocks back up there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So hopefully, because we'd like to do this twice a month, maybe the public will see the urgency and come forward quickly.
Right.
Thanks.
May I have something briefly? I think it was last week, I put out a post on social media asking for volunteers to help deliver groceries to seniors, and I received more volunteers than people in need, which was absolutely amazing. I received a call from local businesses who had to close their doors due to this coronavirus, and they offered to give away food to our residents in our township. I've had friends call me about donating children's clothes and baby formula. I had a friend recently who works at Costco, you know who you are, bought 30-pack of toilet paper, which is like gold right now, and for the sole purpose of giving it away to Howell residents who need it. We delivered about half of the rolls to date. Neighbors have been buying gift cards in bulk, supporting our local businesses, which is great to see. There was a young resident, you also know who you are, the Rileys, who made the news recently, who wrote the words "stay positive" in giant letters on the side of their fence for people to see. And I think the rain washed it away yesterday, so they have the words "kindness" on the side. And the list goes on. Acts of kindness and charity from Howell residents, and I have to say that if this has taught me anything, it really confirmed what I already knew about our town, is that we are a charitable, good town, compassionate, we look out for one another, and it's really great to see. That's all I have for this time.
Mayor, just a quick comment. I know the current number is always a big question. The number of reported cases in Howell is currently at 17. There has been some discrepancies with the reporting. I have our police department and OEM working on that currently. That is mainly due to zip codes, that since we have multiple zip codes in town, sometimes they're not reported accurately to the right town. So that is being coordinated mostly through the police department, because they actually get the addresses where our OEM or my office does not receive that information for
Okay.
patients' protection.
But you'll follow up to make
Yes.
sure?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so at this point, we'll open up to the hearing of citizens.
Okay. As I had talked about earlier, we had some unique ways to have to come up with this. We've solicited input through an email address, dedicated email address, as well as a phone number that people could call in and either speak to the deputy clerk or leave a recording. We did receive a number of inquiries that I'll go through now, and we
May
can...
I ask a question before we
Sure.
do that? And I'm not sure, it's just, just thinking out loud, right? So is there any way that maybe we can cut fees, late fees?
I will check on that. Some of it, it's through state law that requires that, so
But
there
at
would have
this
to be one.
time, a lot of the regulations are kind of laxed a little bit.
Right, we
So,
just
I
have to
mean-
make sure we can do so legally.
Sure.
But the state is relaxing a lot of those. There's constantly updates coming out.
Would you let us know about that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, the first comment I have is from Dee Lindsay. She's a Howell resident of 26 years, sent in by email. She had a number of questions related to the COVID virus. How can Howell help our hospitals with needed supplies? For residents who are not following the guidelines and thus putting other residents at risk, there should be repercussions. Make a plan for town workers at home working to develop a plan to reach out to seniors that live alone. Pray for our town, state, and country. And we are Americans. Stop and unite us. No longer political slander against Democrats or Republicans. I did respond to Ms. Lindsay, explain to her some of the things that we do have going on. Our OEM is part of a network of OEMs that answer to the county. They're all working in concert for supply chains. Locally, one thing we've done is making sure we're only ordering what we need to equip our first responders, to avoid the hoarding issue that is depriving others of getting that equipment. So that's the largest thing we can do. As far as some residents not following the guidelines, our police department and code enforcement have been very active with enforcing the directives offered by Governor Murphy. We've had a few businesses that our police department has shut down because they were operating outside of his directive. As far as our town workers, we had closed town hall about a week and a half ago to public access. Since that time, we've even scaled back further with limited staffing here in the building and most workers working remotely from home. Our senior center has reassigned a number of personnel. They're being very active with the senior community, contacting them on a regular basis. The bus drivers have been reassigned to work with the Meals on Wheels program. And then her comments about praying and putting politics aside. So the next question received was from Dawn Van Brunt regarding a question about memorialization of the resolution for the Monmouth Commerce Center. She was given an email reply that it will be memorialized at the next Howell Planning Board meeting. Current one is potentially for April 2nd, but subject to cancellation based on conditions at that time.
Brian, does planning board have to meet in person, or can they meet the way we meet?
Uh,
I would assume it's more difficult because they have to look at maps or
Yes,
all
yeah.
that stuff.
So that's what we're trying to work through now
Right.
to come up with a solution. I mean, the formality of the meeting, yes, we could do the same format, but it would just be difficult for the members to access all the materials, as you
Sure.
said.
I would think that the professionals, it would be more difficult. You actually have lawyers and
Yes.
and whatnot, so there'd be a lot of,
There's also a variety of other programs that are out there that we're looking into as well that may work for them. I have a number of comments from Tina Smilek, Howell resident. She's questioning 9A3, FP Howell to give Howell 800,000 plus confirm 92 units of affordable housing in return of Howell in return of Howell providing public water and sewer to the property. What is needed to provide water to the property, and how much will it cost us? Will this be a capital project, and would the cost be charged to our utility or regular township fund? 9A4, Turpac Road Group, Howell. Howell will ensure public water and public sewer is provided at the property, which includes approval in the wastewater management plan. Where's the closest public water and sewer connection in this area? How much will this cost? Will it be charged to our utility or regular township fund? Has any council member actually looked at the wastewater management plan? And who conducted and reviewed the environmental impact, considering you're giving your approval to the Department of Environmental Protection? Will this still allow the planning board to deny aspects of the project if it turns out to have an environmental impact? There was also a comment from a Mr. Dave Schultz. In the interest of efficiency, I'm kind of grouping them together,
Okay.
and then we'll respond to those since they're very related. Dave Schultz of 149 Yellowbrook Road, Farmingdale, had called in with concern. He called to express his concern for having resolutions 9A3 and 9A4 on the consent agenda. Mr. Schultz feels that anything having to do with the wastewater management plan should be held as a public hearing and not in consent. Any sewer and water changes carry more gravity and should not be in consent. Regarding those issues, I had asked Joe Clark to contact Andy Bayer, our affordable housing attorney, so I'll ask Joe to respond to those concerns.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will take the last comment first. We do this type of resolution fairly frequently where we ask for an amendment to our wastewater management plan to include somebody in the sewer service area. I took a look through our past resolutions and I found one as recently as January of this year. So we typically don't do it by public comment. All it does, it just tells, there's a process for this, and it starts with us. We pass a resolution saying we're not objecting to the inclusion of it in the wastewater management plan, then it's still got to go to MRSA for approval. After that, it goes to the county. After that, it goes to the state DEP. So at every step of the way, there are certain regulations or qualifications that somebody looking to be included has to satisfy. So that's why ours is just the first step down a long road for them. With regard to Ms. Smilek's questions, I'll take the 9A3 one first. And she asks, what is needed to provide water to the property and how much will it cost us? The determination as to what's needed to provide water to the property is the developer's responsibility. Ditto for the sewer. None of this is going to cost us any money. We're not responsible for paying for any of their any part of their development. Will this be a capital project with the cost? Okay, again, we're not paying for any of their sewer and water. With regard to 9A4, Turpac Road Group, Howell will ensure public water and public sewer is provided at the property. This is not true. We do not have any responsibility to provide public water and public sewer. It is, again, the developer's responsibility. Our responsibility in the developer's agreements is limited to supporting the project and to supporting their inclusion in the wastewater management plan and the sewer service area, which is what we're doing. How much will this cost? Again, it's a developer's issue. Will it be charged to utility or regular township fund? Neither. It's the developer's responsibility. Who conducted and reviewed the EI considering you are giving your approval to the Department of Environmental Protection? No, we're not. We are the first step. They still need to get approval from the DEP. So at that point, the county and the DEP will do the environmental impact. Again, ours is just the first step, and it is one that is required with our agreements. Will this still allow the planning board to deny aspects of the project if it turns out to have an environmental impact? My suspicion is they won't get past DEP, so it'll be a moot point at the planning board. So again, we have the resolutions on. It's something we typically do. Our developers' agreements require support, and so I think that we're acting in a manner consistent with that.
Thank you.
Hey, just to insert real quick, another comment just came in from Mr. Dave Schultz again. He wanted to thank the governing body for all they're doing during the COVID-19 crisis and otherwise.
Thank you.
Moving on, back to Ms. Tina Smilek's comments. 9A5 through 7, engineering fees for road work. Has there been any changes from when it was originally pulled from the agenda over 3 months ago and now? I'm deeply troubled by what I consider to be a political game with these resolutions. I'm starting to see a very defined correlation between some of our new council members with some of our past council members. Those of you who choose to play with a person's career and livelihood for political reasons should be ashamed of yourself. To answer her question, no, there has been no changes in the work itself. there have been additional reviews that have been enacted since. And that was why these were recommended to you for consideration at this meeting. Her next comment, now that that matter is settled, I would like to receive a copy of the RFPs that Councilwoman Richmond was reviewing. Do I need to Oprah them, or is it possible to send them to me? I would ask that she Oprah them. That way we understand clearly what she's looking to get, and we can fill that request. Next question is 9A12. What project is he working on? Will this project be completed soon, or is it completed with this payment? This resolution is regarding a payment to one of the special counsel, Chris Dasty. He has been working on a project with our code enforcement where we have been demolishing long-time nuisance abandoned homes and then assessing that fee back to the property owner. We've had great compliance so far. We selected some of the worst homes around Howell. And I think by the process that we were undergoing, it was 3 of them, 3 of the initial 5, the property owners decided to finally act. This is certain properties that have been neglected for years, and the people just completely disregarded any notices from code enforcement, our court. So I think this was needed. As far as future work, that may be reeled in based on economic factors, but we found it to be a successful program so far. So that's what that resolution is related to. Her final comments, again, this Tina Smilek. In conclusion, I would like to thank the majority of council who has been working tirelessly for the community and residents for this pandemic we are going through. Seeing your videos, updates, and community interaction has been comforting to many residents, and as always, Chief Kudrick is the pillar of the community. His leadership in his department and in our town is beyond compare. To the employees of Howell Township in all departments, thank you for all your hard work during this difficult time, and always. Wishing everyone and their families remain healthy and well, and prayers to those who are fighting this invisible enemy. As the mayor continues to say, we will all get through this together. That concludes Tina's comments. Next, I have a statement from Joan Osborne, Environmental Commission Chair. It was sent in by email. The Environmental Commission, in conjunction with the Department of Public Works, has reached the conclusion that the planning for and potential to have the Earth Day planting for the trees grant we obtained for Winston Park, which was to be around April 25th, cannot go forward then. We have contacted the Pinelands Nursery, and they have adjusted the delivery date for early June. We hope that will work out, and the town will continue its coordination with the county's project, if that is possible, and to keep us advised of the status of these efforts. We will formalize a new date as soon as possible. The Environmental Commission also thanks the council for putting the resolution of support for another grant opportunity that the Environmental Commission is pursuing on today's agenda. If anyone has any questions about it, Lisa Dowd, hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, is spearheading that effort to have a pollinator garden added to the Howell Organic Community Garden. We're always happy to pursue the growth of this important asset in Howell Township and hope that we will again be successful in getting a grant to expand the ability of the garden to produce food in a sustainable way. The Environmental Commission would like to address its concern that its meetings have been canceled. This is not a problem as long as no projects are going forward to planning or zoning approvals without having been reviewed by the Environmental Commission. Planning or zoning board meetings are to resume during this crisis. We would like to work out an alternative arrangement to hold our meetings and do the work that we have been appointed to do. Obviously, almost all township meetings have been canceled, theirs as well as the planning and zoning board, so I don't foresee that as an issue going forward. And those are the only comments I have so far.
So far, thank you, whoever has commented. And
I've gotten no additional for the general consent, for the general hearing of citizens. I do have some comments for the fire budget.
Okay. So then at this point, we'll vote on the consent?
Yes, ma'am.
Would somebody make a motion?
Yeah, I would make a motion to approve 9A7 through 9A16, including 9B1.
And the others you want to
Mayor.
vote on individually?
Yeah, I have a comment on that.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Is
the
9A1 supposed to be
What?
done first?
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
that's the fire budget one I think he was doing
Yes, I
separately,
just
right?
wanted to get it on the
Yes.
table so Brian could speak to it.
Do you want to do the fire budget issue first, and then
I'm not sure.
Well,
I would recommend if you go from 9A2 forward, do the consent agenda, and then we'll visit the fire budget.
if you're more comfortable, then I will readdress my motion to include
9A2?
Well,
9A2. 9A1 you'll address later, and including 9A16 and 9B1.
I will second that.
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
I couldn't hear that. Was that the motion 9A1 through 9A15 or 9A2?
9A2. Through.
I would like to make the motion to move 9A2 through 9A15, including 9B1, excluding 9A4.
9A4?
Well, we have 9A16. Is Mr. Bonovich aware of that?
Councilman Bonovich, are you aware of 9A16?
Oh, I see 9A16. I got that. Yeah, including 9A16. But I would like a separate vote on 9A4.
Okay, well, I already have a motion up.
We had a motion pending. We had Deputy Mayor O'Donnell's.
And I made a second.
so
Okay.
that we vote no in total?
Yeah, I'm just having a hard time hearing, Joe. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
So we'll take a vote on the initial motion, which was for 9A2 through 9A16 and 9B1, correct?
That was my motion.
That was my second.
Okay. Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
No.
Ms. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
No.
Would it be appropriate for me to make a motion for 9A1 at this
Well,
time?
he has to
If I
go
can give
over
some
it.
background on that. If I can comment, 9A2 is a temporary budget amendment. I would ask if that be reconsidered. I know that was part of the consent, but that's going to have a serious impact on township operations.
9A2. I'm sorry, what did you, I don't understand what you're saying, Brian.
So Mr. Bonovich had an issue with including 9A4 in the consent agenda, and because of that, he voted no. For 9A2 to pass, we need 4 votes. That's a temporary operating budget amendment.
All right, I'm a little confused here.
Because so the reason, you put everything together.
Right.
And if we wanted to vote no on one thing, we voted no for the whole thing.
I understand.
Because it was all together.
But then
So
where
at
does,
this
but
point,
John was
then-
talking about 9A4, Brian's talking about 9A2. That's what I'm confused.
Correct.
Because they
So
kind of
if we voted no.
For 9A4?
For 9A2 included. 9A2 was included.
Okay, thank you.
That's why.
Thank you for the clarification. It was just a little confusing to me.
Yeah.
I understand, because 2 has to be bearing on us voting for 4. Okay, thank you for that.
So
So what are we doing?
My motion would solve that.
Joe?
Joe,
Joe.
any thoughts? Can that be modified, or? My concern is 9A2.
Well, the,
So we just took a formal vote, so now we either have to.
the motion
change it.
passed, but 9A2 didn't because it requires 4 votes. We probably should have split it out up front.
Unless somebody wants to make a motion on that one separately.
And would that be appropriate at this point in time, Joe? To reconsider 9A2?
I mean, can I just make just a comment? Because obviously the circumstances with what we've been dealing with, our budget, that has one thing has something to do with the other because of COVID and all the stuff that we've been dealing with. Does that affect the budget, and does that affect potentially the monies here? Could it? Could you use that as a reason to?
The way Lou has our budget structure currently, it carries us through the end of the month. Our budget is up for adoption the first meeting next month, so we're kind of at a fine line here, whether we're going to be able to continue operations.
And you don't see anything coming down the line from the governor or anything, having, I mean, at this moment right now, you don't?
No, but even if there is, it would still have to be a budget issue. Deal with.
Again, my question is, Mr. Clark, can we readdress 9A2 at this point in time?
I think given, in light of the fact that 982 is a 4-vote for approval resolution, I think it should have been split out initially. It wasn't, and I think that in fairness and in recognition that it's a budgetary resolution, we should readdress it at this point with the understanding that it's going to require 4 votes to pass.
In light of your comments, I will put the motion forward to accept 9A2.
I will second that if that's appropriate. Yes?
Okay. Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
Can you repeat that motion? I couldn't hear it.
Oh, I feel so bad.
This is, do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Councilman Bonovich, this strictly for 9A2, which is a temporary budget amendment. This is to...
So we're making a motion just for 982, correct?
That is all.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Bonovich?
Yes.
Ms. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you for your consideration. Now, to get on to the fire budget, the 2020 fire budget for Fire District 2, the Adelphia section of town, had failed before the voters on February 15th. The process for that, when it fails by the voters, then comes to the governing body for consideration. Lou Palazzo and myself had met with representatives from the fire district, their attorney as well, and we were able to come up with a few cuts. Just to give some background, their budget as presented to the voters was flat from last year. There was no increase. But in further discussions, we were able to help and make some recommendations. And therefore, I am recommending a total of $50,000 in cuts. It would be a total of $49,000 to their capital appropriations. This is money that they set aside for future purchases. The fire district carries 0 debt, so what they do is every year they budget a certain amount, and then in 5, 6, 7 years, when they need a new truck, that money is there and they're essentially paying cash, which is extremely sound financial practice. Wish we were able to do it at the township level. So we're taking $49,000 from their capital appropriation line and then $1,000 for their salary and wage line, a total of $50,000 in cuts. The fire commissioners were all in agreement that this would not have a negative impact on fire operations in that district. So I am setting forth that recommendation to the governing body for consideration. By law, we do have to open it up for a public hearing. I do have a few comments to read into the record when, as soon as that's done.
So I will open this portion to public hearing.
Okay.
It's just kind of weird.
I understand. This is all new to all of us. The first thing I'd like to read is a letter from the fire commissioners themselves. This was shortly after we had met and came up with the recommendations. Mr. Brian Gagan, sir, thank you very much for reviewing our 2020 budget and recommending a reduction in the capital reserve line of $50,000 in order for our budget to be accepted. We couldn't have asked for a more fair conclusion, and yes, we agree with it completely and accept it as you recommended. We also agree that the reduction will not have a negative impact on the fire service in Howell Fire District 2. Also, be informed that Dr. Harry Carter, Chairman of the Board of Fire Commissioners, is completing a capital spending plan to support future purchases. That was something that we had discussed during our meetings for more information for the voters. That way they have a capital spending plan so they know which vehicles are being replaced during what years. Again, thank you very much for being reasonable with the reduction plan for our 2020 budget. Signed, the Board of Fire Commissioners, Howell Fire District 2, Frank E. Biddle III, Clerk of the Board. I also have a comment from Ms. Tina Smilek regarding this. 9A1, District 2 Fire Budget. Very sad to see that this didn't pass, as they didn't request an increase. That being said, How are people supposed to vote when no one has any information unless they search different websites? We never know anything about the candidates or the budget unless you get a mail-in ballot. I would like to see the township or fire departments post to their website a sample ballot for each district. It would be nice if the township would post them on the township website. And when the election is over, how about posting the results somewhere? Our newspapers don't even cover the elections anymore. Please look into doing a better job at getting the info out to the voters. With the new mail-in ballots, residents need to be motivated to vote or consider moving the elections to November like the school board. Just to offer a few comments on this, Fire District 2 is actually very transparent. They do maintain a website that does contain their budget. I'm not sure what was advertised about the candidates in advance, or if they posted a sample ballot, but their last several years' budget is posted for the public to review. The fire districts do have an option of moving to November, similar to the school districts. However, the voters would then lose the right to have direct input as to their budget. So that was something that came about under Governor Christie. There's some fire districts that have moved to it. Others are refraining from doing so. You know, it's a choice by district, I guess. And as of right now, we have not received any other comments from the public on this topic.
Okay, so then I'll close this portion, and I would like to ask for a motion.
Before, Mayor, can I just have, services are not going to be impacted, right?
They have assured me that is correct.
Okay.
Do we have something in writing from them?
Yes,
Stating that?
they sent me a letter.
Okay, good, okay.
I could forward it to the council, so
Please.
so you're all aware.
Thank you.
Yep.
May I have a motion?
I will again make a motion for 9A1.
And I will second that.
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
This is for the fire budget, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Ms. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. We going to the motions now? Just give me a second. Forgive me, just 1 second.
I believe the motion 9B1 was included with the consent earlier. That just remains 9B2 and 3.
It's not opening to anything, I'm sorry. Let me read it. Yeah, but I
To give a
can't-
synopsis, they're both appointments. 9B2 is appointment of planning board member.
I don't have the thing to read.
Oh, okay. Sorry, just trying to help.
I know what it is, I'm just
Well-
trying to be able to read it.
May I for a quick second?
Sure.
Under the extreme circumstances, and since we do not have any planning or any meetings coming up, would it be okay if we table these since we have some time? And I don't think that this is a priority right now, but that's just my opinion. So I'm just asking if we can table
I
these
agree.
two, if that's okay?
Would agree.
Don, did you hear that?
I would second that.
Okay. I guess we
So
have to
just to
make a motion.
clarify,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
your motion is to table 9B2 and 9B3, correct?
Yeah, the planning board and the green team, although before we do make the motion, Rich Mertens did hand in his resignation for the green team. I've only known Rich for a couple of years, but I know he's very dedicated, and I know that he's going to continue serving the public in other aspects. So I want to thank Rich for his volunteerism.
That's a big loss, Rich Mertens. He's a good guy. Going to miss you, Rich.
And also with the planning board, this appointment would be for an alternate, so we're certainly safe, I think, in waiting a little bit of time. And after the virus settles, possibly we have more input from the public as well, because everybody's very preoccupied, obviously.
With that said, I can make a motion to table motion 9B2 and 9B3.
I would second that.
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
Yes.
Ms. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. Let's see. Ordinance. I'm going to read the title and then I'll open it up, okay? Brian, do we have anything to open up? Under the ordinance,
Uh,
10.1?
Public.
Well, I thought Deputy Mayor O'Donnell had asked about looking to table that as well.
I didn't hear it.
No,
I'm sorry.
I just
No,
thought-
she had asked me prior to the
Oh,
meeting.
I'm sorry.
So,
I just thought it'd be appropriate if the mayor got it on the record so that everybody would know what we're talking about.
okay.
Oh, okay, so it's ordinance 0-20-5, 10.1. Ordinance amending Chapter 139 fees, Article 17 Land Use, Section 55, Annual Landlord Registration and Registration for Abandoned Residential Properties.
May I? Okay. Because some of this involves the fee ordinance and raising it, because this is such a tough time for people, raising fees at this time, I think would be a particular hardship to the residents. So unless there is some underlying reason why we could not table this until a later date, and I would ask you, Mr. Clark, if there's any reason that's, we could not table this, because I am concerned about people and their money right now. It's very hard out there.
No, we can table this and we can come back to it.
Thank you.
So you'll have to make a motion.
So I would like to make a motion to table ordinance
No, I
number,
heard it. So this is for bank-owned properties, correct?
Yes, Councilman, that's mostly what it pertains to are the bank-owned properties.
Okay.
So then it's not from the resident. The residents are not.
You said mostly, so they're,
This is-
Well,
this is a bank-owned
ultimately,
property.
I can only listen to one person.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Councilman.
No, I'm okay. Listen.
Yes, this does apply to bank-owned properties, but at the end of the day, it's our residents that are paying those fees, and so ultimately, I would say it's on the residents after the banks pass along their fees.
So my motion stands.
I will second that
I'm fine
motion.
with that. There's no rush.
Sorry, John, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I will second the motion.
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
Yes.
Ms. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. So at this point, there's no real unfinished business that we have not dealt with. Is there any information that we want to put out there, Brian? You want to do the websites?
Again, for information related to the COVID-19 virus, I would go to the main Howell website. That's www.twp.howell.nj.us/COVID-19. That will take you to the page where we are placing all of the information, township business. We're cross-sharing with our schools and other partners. So that's where most of the information that we're putting out. As far as senior citizens that may not have internet access, they can call 732-961-5111, and they'll hear a recorded message. That is usually what's posted is the last letter from the governing body to the public. And finally, I would just like to reiterate once again, any donations for the food pantry can be accepted either through our senior center or OEM.
I also wanted to add the Alliance website. If anybody is out there that has any fears or is struggling out there and wants to talk to someone and needs some help. Now, I'm gonna try this one. I think I have it memorized. It's www.twp.howell.nj.us /169/municipal-alliance. Is that correct?
I will,
I think that's
Sounded good. Sounded good.
you go to the main page and do
Go
a
to
search
main
for the
page.
Alliance.
I believe
I'm
that
sure
was
you will
correct, but if you
quickly
go to the
get
main page, it's on there as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I also want to thank all of our first responders and really the team that's been working on COVID with OEM and the chief of police and Brian. I want to say thank you. Thank you for including us in all the information. It's been very important. The citizens need to know that we all are working really hard to try and make sure that we keep our township safe. I said it once before, and I will say it, this is a community, this is a family, and we need to help each other at this time. Please, again, if you can, social distance. We are all socially distant at this point. It's important, it's very important for your health and your safety, as well as the health and safety of the people that you live with or the people that you come in contact with the next minute after you meet someone. So please, practice bumping or, just hi is a good wave, or another one is like this, there's tons of them. So do that and wash your hands, don't touch your face. And I think everybody will be healthy.
Absolutely. These are crazy times,
They are.
They really are. And I just had a couple of things, Mayor, if you
Please,
don't mind.
Tom.
I, in addition to everybody who the mayor referenced, you guys have been doing a great job, and girls. Thank you for keeping us up to date with everything. When I call, you answer, and it's critical. And it doesn't matter on the weekends. And I know I've called you on the weekends and late nights, and I always get the information that I need, and I know the other council members do as well. And that just goes to show how hard you all are working and how seriously you're taking this. Brian, can you tell us briefly, I understand that you were working with a testing facility. Can you just give us an update as to that and what you've been doing?
Yes, we did become aware that a local facility, the medical clinic directly across the street from Town Hall, Instadoc, had the ability to conduct a large number of tests for COVID-19. They had advised us they could do about 200 to 250 tests per day. Anticipating that we may have some traffic or crowding issues in their location where they're at, I had asked OEM to meet with them to see if the township could help coordinate things. Rather than them starting to do it and us have to react, I thought it would be wise if we started, in the plan from the start. Everyone was in agreement, even brought our school representatives on board and included them. After reviewing a number of locations, we decided on Middle School North to be where the operation was going to occur. They did their first one yesterday. Just to reinforce, the general public is not entering the school. This is a drive-through system. We're only using their parking lot. They did about 150 tests yesterday between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. They're planning on doing it again Wednesday and Friday. We did commit some township resources to assist them. We did have a large tent through our OEM, so we were able to have basically a drive-through concept, similar to what you've seen on the news at PNC, Bergen County.
Brian?
I believe Union County just started up, and Ocean County's starting one as well.
Excuse me, is this for Howell residents only? You have to have insurance? Well, I'm getting a couple of phone calls because it's not really clear. People are like, why are we seeing it on Channel 12 News? We see PNC. I said, I think it's a little on the smaller scale, and it's through my Instadoc, and I wasn't
Yes.
sure if it was only for Howell residents. Monmouth County?
We cannot restrict it to any resident.
Okay.
The doctors involved, they need to treat whoever comes to them.
Right.
I'm sure the mayor can attest to that. Although I was told 90% of the people that came through yesterday were Howell
Howell,
residents.
yeah.
Okay.
And I know the mayor was in contact with one of the doctors that's involved over there and worked out a special program for senior citizens or those that may not have insurance. But yes, he is charging for the service. He does accept insurance. We were just trying to facilitate any traffic or crowd problems.
I figured so much. That's what I've been saying, so.
But they do have a pretty strict process. I believe if you go to their app or their website, there's a series of questions that you would need to ask that you would be essentially describing what symptoms you have. And based on the outcome of that questionnaire, it may tell you to visit one of their local clinics or facilities, or if you answer the questions the right way, you would then schedule an appointment at their testing site. Only people that have an appointment are allowed into the testing site, so.
Even the notice we put out, it says pre-registration is required. So it should be clear to people that
Yeah.
they need to go through
Yes.
the process.
There were a few people that did show up there that did not have an appointment, and they worked with them.
Good.
But,
That was good.
as this becomes more widely known, they're going to have to tighten up with that and be very strict with the appointment issue.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Moulet. I know he's been working really hard with you guys,
Yes.
yeah.
Brian,
And
I'm sorry.
They were very quick to work with
Yeah.
us. This just came to our attention late Friday afternoon. Myself, Victor Cook from OEM, met with a few of the doctors, a few representatives from Instadoc, and we were all out there Sunday morning, or Sunday afternoon rather, at the school, and we had it up and running by yesterday morning, in spite of the weather.
Good, thank you for
So-
that.
Well, Brian, I really appreciate I actually received a phone call saying how great Howell's doing, how we're taking the lead on this testing, and I just thank you for everything you're doing. I understand that first responders do get preference, correct?
Yes, their office has worked out some accommodations for any of our first responders that may have had an exposure, and he's even extended that to other communities outside of Howell. In fact, Sunday night, I received a call and was able to put a police officer from another town in contact, and
That's awesome.
I saw that, thank you.
That's
Neptune, was that Neptune? Is that the one? from
Neptune City.
Neptune City?
yes.
Yeah, no, really appreciate your leadership on this one, and everybody up here as well.
It's all
Mayor,
team
Deputy,
effort.
yeah, Mayor and Deputy Mayor, thank you for addressing the town. I think it was a couple of days ago. They really did appreciate that. You reached out to me and wanted to thank you both for that. Thank you to our police, our fire, EMS, our OEM, our school board leaders, our food pantry, senior services, our administration, of course. Also the healthcare workers out there on the front lines. And also grocery store and gasoline employees, keeping this country running, you know? Well, we're working at home, they're out there keeping this place up and running in the front lines as well, so thank you.
Even the restaurant workers, the ones that are
Restaurant.
still there, I mean, we really, we need to support them.
Absolutely.
It's so important. We want the restaurants to be here. You know, we
Absolutely.
don't have many. We want to
I
keep
know.
what we have.
Gift cards.
Go out one
takeout.
night a week.
Yep.
If I could add a quick update.
Sure.
With regard to that, and thanks to Councilman Bonovich, he took the lead with this. Some towns were starting to do spreadsheets for businesses, restaurants that were remaining open and what services they were offering. As that was one more thing on an already overloaded plate, Councilman Bonovich has taken that over and has been updating it daily, and that's been reposted to our website every day.
Oh, thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I said I have
And,
two-
If anyone's listening, any restaurant owners, just please go to the website, township website, email me that spreadsheet, your hours, everything's updated every day at 3 p.m.
I just have two more items. I'll be brief. Our Howell wrestlers, before all this happened with coronavirus, our wrestlers had an outstanding season. That's why I'm wearing my Howell wrestling
They
shirt.
do every year.
They do every year, that's true, but they had another historical season, particularly senior Shane Reitzman had a record-breaking season, second in the state, going to Ryder. Congratulations, Shane. Congratulations to our
Oh,
Howell
Shane.
Rebel wrestlers. Outstanding as always, and the coaches and the staff as well. Also, there was an Eagle Scout, Tim Wegg, whose ceremony was postponed due to the coronavirus. Just want to congratulate you, Tim. I wish I could have been there, but we will honor you in the future at a town meeting and at your ceremony as well with the Eagle Scouts. So, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
May I, go ahead, I know you have,
Well, just quickly, I thought that the Eagle Scout ceremony was going to be rescheduled. Was that the information that I thought I heard, Alice?
Yes.
That's what I heard.
Good. So then we haven't missed anything. So secondly, I wanted to know, are we thinking about the future, about another place, another facility for testing? Are we looking into the future for this?
In speaking with the doctors, their limitations are not based on what they can do. It's the lab that they're using, a particular chemical that they get to conduct the test. It's the lab's ability to get that chemical. So that is what's controlling the number of people, at least that they can test at this location. We did approach another local medical clinic that had advertised that they were doing testing as well to see if they wanted to either join in or partner with this so we could, hopefully test more people. They were very much more limited with their capabilities in testing to maybe only a few a day. But our OEM has reached out to other potential
Well, I'll hope as more supplies become available to the medical facilities, they're able to, to feel free to give you a call, and maybe something else can be set up in the future. I fear that this is going to be something that we're going to be looking at for some time.
Do we have a LabCorp site in Howell?
Yes, over on Kent Road.
Are they testing there? Because that's how we get our tests from.
I am not sure, but from what I've been told, one of the issues is LabCorp and Quest need to freeze their samples, and then they get shipped to another state where the actual testing is done. Instadoc uses a New Jersey lab for testing, and they've indicated that they can get a 48-hour turnaround. And as a matter of fact, earlier today, I was notified that out of the roughly 150 people tested yesterday at their site, he had already gotten 88 results
Wow.
back.
Wow, that's almost
So-
88%.
That's great.
That's excellent.
That was the last update that I had received. I'm not sure if he's received more since.
And I hope they're all a good result
He's doing better than,
than LabCorp.
Okay, so I guess I'll go last, and it'll be short since everybody pretty much covered what I wanted to say. I do want to thank the residents for their patience and understanding. We're all winging it here, I think, right? We're doing our best, and Brian, you and Victor Cook and the chief and the Board of Ed. But I have to give a kudos to the shout out to the moms that are remote learning and teaching with their children.
Amen to
Oh,
that.
good God. I'm sure everyone here, and I am a teacher's aide, so appreciates the teachers, and the Board of Ed did a great job with getting everybody remote learning in such a short notice. So kudos to the parents' home, because I'm one of them. It's not easy. Again, my council, the mayor and council here, we've been working, endlessly to try to answer questions, and we've been bogging down Brian and working from home and everything else. It's not easy, but I give you all kudos. Thank you for your support. Just keep remembering these unprecedented times when we make a decision like this meeting. It was what we thought was best to keep everybody safe. We're trying to flatten that curve. And we're trying to get back out and up and running in our small businesses. We're trying to keep everybody alive. So remember that when, you're thinking about putting a post out there or something out there. We are really doing our best. Bipartisanship is, at its best. And we're doing this for the residents. You put us here. I hope we aren't letting you down. And everybody stay healthy and stay well, and hope to be back up and running real soon.
All I'm going to add is just God bless Howell and the U.S. and all of us. And
Amen to that.
So at this point, I will entertain a motion. Oh, wait. Oh,
So close.
sorry.
So close.
The next meeting is
We
April
hope.
7th, 2020. We do not know if it will be the same format or something different, I guess. Let's be on, put that out there.
Yeah.
And then the next meeting is April 21st. 6:30 for each for executive session, and then 7:30 for the regular session. At this point, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
May I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Amen.
Roll call, Mr. Bonovich?
Yes.
Ms. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good evening.